These people are absolutely insane in the most unbelievable way. They spend more than 20 minutes underwater, fishing with no oxygen tank, no safety kit, no wetsuit, just their bare lungs and a handmade spear. Every single day, they dive into this crystal clear blue ocean like it's nothing. It sounds impossible, right? Worry less. Because if you haven't heard about these sea divers, now's the perfect time to meet them. These are the Bajau, real-life sea nomads. People who live, eat, sleep, and even give birth right on the water. For hundreds of years, they've lived without borders and without rights. They don't officially belong to the Philippines, Indonesia, or Malaysia, even though they've lived on these waters for generations. No passports, no healthcare, no electricity, no schools, just ocean. But here's the twist. Some of them can hold their breath for up to 10 minutes and dive over 200 feet deep, without a single air tank. National Geographic even discovered that Baja people have bigger spleens than average humans. Their biology literally evolved to adapt to the sea. But wait, why would anyone choose to live like this? Exposed to deadly storms, shark-infested waters, and with barely any protection from any government? Well, many didn't choose this life. Some were kicked off their land. Others were never granted citizenship. And when Wakatobi National Park was created in 2002, it restricted their fishing zones, stealing the ocean right out from under their boats. Some Baja communities have turned to dangerous methods to survive. Dynamite fishing, potassium cyanide, anything to feed their families. The same sea that kept them alive for centuries is now slipping away. So how do they build floating homes? How is their ancient way of life holding up today? And here's a question for you watching. Would you trade your land life for a chance to live on the open sea, completely free? Let me know in the comments. Today we're traveling to Tawi Tawi in the Philippines, one of the last places on Earth where the Bajau still live mostly untouched. Kind of. But is it true that this is the most dangerous area in the country? And how is the outside world changing this sea tribe for better or worse? Let's find out. You are all welcome to Tawi Tawi, a remote, sun-soaked province in the southern Philippines where time feels like it's moving slower, or maybe just differently. There are no towering skyscrapers here, no highways, no hustle. Just turquoise water stretching endlessly and wooden boats dancing gently on the tide. It's quiet, almost too quiet. But don't let that fool you. This is the heart of the Baja world and one of the most dangerous places in the Philippines, according to the government. Why? Because Tawi Tawi sits near the borders of Malaysia and Indonesia. It's a place of blurred lines, smuggling routes, and forgotten people. But it's also where the Baja still cling to their fading traditions. As our boat glides across the water, you'll start to notice the homes, floating houses built on stilts above coral reefs. No plumbing, no power lines, just wood, nails, and centuries of inherited knowledge. Children leap off the decks like dolphins. Men paddle with one hand, spearfish in the other. Women squat in boats, cleaning fish, cooking rice, laughing over the sea breeze. This isn't a vacation spot. It's real life, and it's disappearing. For the Bajau, the ocean is supposed to be free. But now, governments patrol it. Tourism companies claim parts of it. Even conservation groups, with the best intentions, draw lines that these people aren't allowed to cross. Imagine living your whole life in your home. Then one day, someone puts up fences around your kitchen, your backyard, your only source of food, and tells you you can't go there anymore. That's what's happening here. But the Bajau, they're not giving up. Not yet. A young Bajau man stands at the edge of his wooden boat, barefoot, lean, calm, no wetsuit, no oxygen tank, no modern gear, just a pair of homemade goggles carved from wood and glass and a handmade spear. He inhales deeply and then vanishes, straight down. No bubbles, no splash, just the water swallowing him whole. We wait. 10 seconds, 20, 40. Still nothing. Down below, he glides like a ghost between coral gardens, chasing shadows of fish with steady precision. The pressure here would make most people panic. But he's calm, focused, almost meditative. You see, Bajau divers begin training when they're just kids. They swim before they can walk. They learn to listen to their heartbeat, to ignore the burning in their lungs, to become one with the water. Some can hold their breath for 7, 8, even 10 minutes, and dive over 200 feet deep, more than 20 stories down. Scientists were stunned. When researchers from National Geographic studied them, they discovered something shocking. The Bajau have genetically enlarged spleens. That's right, their bodies evolved. Their spleens act like natural oxygen tanks, releasing a burst of red blood cells during deep dives, allowing them to stay under longer than any ordinary human. Their biology literally adapted to the ocean, but there's no glory here, no medals, no world records, just survival. Every dive means food on the table or nothing. Some days, they return with fish. Other days, just silence. And the ocean doesn't always forgive. The deeper they dive, the more dangerous it becomes. Blackouts, burst eardrums, deadly currents. But still, they go. Because for the Bajau, diving isn't a sport. It's a heartbeat, a lifeline, a fading art passed from father to son, from ocean to soul. No roads, no land, just a maze of wooden huts gently rocking on the tide, like a town built on dreams. This is a Baja village. Perched on stilts patched with driftwood and scrap metal, these homes rise out of the sea like something out of a forgotten storybook. No blueprints, no architects, just generations of knowledge passed down by calloused hands and ocean-scarred memory. You hear laughter. Children cannonball into the water like it's their backyard pool, because it is. Laundry dries on bamboo poles strung over waves. Chickens cluck from floating coops. Fishermen carve new boats by hand, shaving wood while sea spray kisses their faces. And when the tide rises, the village sways like a cradle. When storms roll in, it creaks, bends, holds on. How do they build these homes? The answer? Resourcefulness. They harvest mangrove wood, tough and water-resistant, tie their beams with handmade rope, even use old jerry cans and plastic drums for flotation. No cement, no nails, just balance and faith. The sea is their floor, the sky their roof. There are no property lines here, no fences, just kinship. One home tied to another, one boat lashed to the next, a floating family bobbing together in rhythm with the tide. And here's the part that stings. Many of these families have no nationality. They're stateless, invisible to governments. And because of that, they get no health care, no public services, no legal protection. They live entirely off the grid. And yet, they thrive. In their world, school is a father teaching his son how to tie a spearhead, a grandmother teaching her granddaughter how to clean fish. Their classroom is the sea. But even in paradise, survival isn't guaranteed. In 2002, the Wakatobi National Park was born, meant to protect marine life. But for the Bajau, it felt like betrayal. Suddenly, their fishing zones were off limits. The sea that raised them, fed them, was now patrolled by rangers. No licenses, no catch, just restrictions. Imagine waking up one morning and being told you're not allowed to walk through your own neighborhood. That's what it felt like. And when desperation sets in, dangerous choices follow. Some Bajau have turned to blast fishing, using homemade explosives to catch fish. Others use potassium cyanide, poisoning coral reefs just to stun a few small fish. It's illegal. It's deadly. But when your kids are hungry, what would you do? They're not trying to harm the sea. They're trying to stay alive in a world that keeps forgetting they exist. And here's the sad irony. The same world that made documentaries about their beauty, that admired their deep dives and floating homes, is now the one closing in on them with laws they never helped write. Now here's where things get wild. Scientists were baffled by how long Bajau divers could stay underwater. 5 minutes, 8 minutes, some even pushed 10 full minutes without oxygen tanks. That's not just talent, that's biology. So National Geographic stepped in, and what they found was insane. The Bajau have enlarged spleens. Yeah, seriously. Their spleens are about 50% bigger than average. Why does that matter? Well, the spleen acts like a natural blood bank. When you dive, it squeezes extra oxygen-rich blood into your body, keeping you conscious longer. It's the same trait found in diving mammals like seals. So get this. Generations of deep-sea diving literally reprogrammed their DNA. Their bodies evolved to match their way of life. No scuba gear, no training academy, just nature doing its thing over hundreds of years. You know what that means? The Bajau didn't just adapt to the ocean adapted them. And that right there is one of the rarest things you'll ever hear about human evolution happening in real time. Imagine this. You're 5 years old, and instead of running on playgrounds, you're diving into deep blue waters with your older cousins. No floaties, no fear, just you, the sea, and a sharpened stick. For the Bajau, childhood looks completely different. Swimming comes before walking. And by the time they're 8 or 9, many kids are already spearfishing with the grown-ups. There's no classroom, no whiteboards. Their lessons are written in waves, passed down through stories, songs, and watching elders fish with laser-sharp precision. They teach kids how to read the ocean like a book, which fish swim during which tides, how to dodge sea snakes and lurking sharks, how to build wooden goggles from boat scraps, and how to calm your body so deeply it feels like your heart forgets to beat. These aren't just life skills, they're survival codes, ancient ones. Because for the Bajau, the sea isn't a place they visit. It's their mother, their classroom, their playground, and their graveyard. It raises them, it tests them, and someday, it will bury them. Okay, this will blow your mind. Imagine looking out at the horizon and seeing houses. Not on land, not even on stilts, just floating, quietly anchored in the middle of nowhere. This is a Bajau village. Each house is hand-built, plank by plank, resting on narrow wooden stilts, or just hovering on bamboo rafts tethered together like a spiderweb on the sea. No streets, no fences, just thin, creaky bridges connecting home to home. Inside, no beds, no furniture. Just mats, fishing spears, maybe a cooking pot over an open flame, and the sound of waves rocking them to sleep. Every few days, they shift with the current. The entire village moves like a nomadic sea creature. When the fish disappear, so do they. Some homes even drift for weeks until they find better waters. You won't find a doorbell here, just a child paddling over in a carved canoe to say hi. This isn't poverty, it's independence. The Bajau built this with their own hands, on their own terms, a floating world between survival and freedom. But here's the part that hurts. The ocean, the Bajau's only home, is turning against them. Fish, scarcer than ever. Coral reefs, bleached, dead, bombed by years of illegal dynamite fishing, sometimes even by the Bajau themselves, out of sheer desperation. Imagine this. You've lived off the ocean your entire life. Then one day, the sea goes silent. No fish, no catch, no dinner. But what about the younger Bajau? They're caught in the middle, between an ancient world and a modern one that barely knows they exist. Some still dive, just like their ancestors. But others, they look at the sea and see struggle. They dream of land, of cities, of schools, of Wi-Fi. Can you blame them? There's a new wave of Bajau kids who speak the local languages but don't know their tribe's own songs, who carry smartphones but have never learned to build a fishing spear. Because what future does the ocean promise them now? No ID, no government help, no schools of fish like before, just salt water and silence. It's heartbreaking, because as they leave the water, they lose a piece of themselves. The question is, can the Baja find a way to survive without letting go of who they are? Or will the last sea nomads become a story we once told? And yet, not all is lost. In some corners of Tawi Tawi, you'll still find elders teaching kids how to hold their breath, how to read the tides, how to speak the old Bajau language with pride. You'll hear laughter echo across bamboo floors and smell fresh fish sizzling over open fires on floating kitchens. You'll see boats being carved by hand like they were centuries ago, only now with a radio tied to the side. Some NGOs have started helping, bringing solar lights, mobile classrooms, even health checkups to their stilt villages. It's not much, but it's something. Because maybe the answer isn't choosing between the sea and the city. Maybe it's about finding a bridge between both and keep floating if the world stops pretending they don't exist. So the question becomes, will we let these sea nomads vanish beneath the waves of history or help them ride the tides of the future? So, what did we really witness today? Not just a tribe living on water, but a people becoming water. Flowing, adapting, surviving. In a world that forgot them, they never forgot how to breathe beneath the waves. But now, the tides are rising, politically, environmentally, even culturally. And the Baja, they're still floating, still resisting the pull to leave the sea, even when the world keeps pushing them to shore. So here's my question for you. If your entire way of life was slowly sinking, what would you cling to? Your roots, your freedom, or your breath? Let me know below. Remember, this is Inspire Hub, where documentaries shape destiny. Every documentary holds a lesson. Stay powerful, stay wise. Until next time, peace out.